Monster Hunter is a dense game, not only mechanically, but also visually too. And because of this, it can be easy to miss things. Within Wilds, this has only gotten even more intense. So today we're going to take a look at just a few of those things that you may have missed in the game. So let's get right into it. When the Festival of Accord was first introduced, we ended up getting the water gun emote. There are a few things with it that you can quickly miss. If you look inside the water container, you can see a little Goocoo squeaky toy inside. Goocoo being the sort of mascot pet monster of Monster Hunter Frontier series. I love to see that this cute little goose monster got at least some attention nowadays, even with Frontier being pushed to the wayside for the most part. And with the water gun, we also got this hilarious interaction if you are to shoot your Palico, which it doesn't always trigger, but if you keep trying, you'll eventually get freaking out and dual-wield water guns of their own. These are also strangely the fully bottled water guns, just shrunk down. There's no shortcuts taken to lower the density of models or anything here. Many people are aware of the time-sensitive plants, to much of a controversy that occurred over them, and eventually the devs patching them to make it more difficult to obtain said flowers. Why do I mention that? Because there's also a special part you can get from smaller monsters as well. If you defeat a small monster and let its corpse sit there for a while, after a couple minutes it will start to slowly decay and offer a variety of different materials that you normally wouldn't be able to get, eventually turning into a bone pile where you can indeed harvest bones from it. But if you're really lucky, you can sometimes get a Wyrvensprout to spawn. Yep, that's right, a mushroom can grow out of the corpses of these small monsters. And it turns in for a few special things at some of the various traders. It really is just a great example of a shortened cycle of life being shown off. And that's something I expect much people to know, because, well, why would you be standing around waiting anyway? Over in the Ice Shard Cliffs, surrounded by Nerscylla hatchlings, you can find a single Omega Micros hanging out with them. Why it's over here, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's trying to blend in and learn more about its environment, just as Omega would. Or maybe the devs thought this was a nice way to give people the opportunity to scrounge up a few materials they may have missed. Staying on the topic of Nerscylla, we also have these various Gypceros corpses strung up by various webbings. And for some reason, they have an interactable animation that plays out when they get hit by various things. I'm not entirely sure why they do this. Maybe just to add that extra flair to the environments. At one point, I thought maybe they dropped the poison shards that you can use for slinger ammo, but they do not seem to do it, as I tried to make one drop one intentionally quite a few different times. So I guess this really is just for that decoration. If you have watched my Bestiary series, then you're well aware of how dynamic a lot of the creatures can be, both endemic, small, and large monsters. And Lagiacrus is no stranger to this. If you catch in certain locations near fishing holes, sometimes go into these to feed in quite a shocking animation, swirling around and sending off his thunderbolts in every which direction and scooping up all of the fish. But there is also a more rare animation that you can catch as well, where you swallow an entire Harpios whole, straight out of the sky. The conditions to make everything line up to have these animations occur is quite ridiculous. You've never carded, have you? No, of course you haven't. So there's no way you possibly could have known this. After you cart in this game, you are revived by the little Palico medic. But if you didn't know this little Palico will run all the way back to the base camp of the locale you're in by foot. So you can follow them all the way back there, and they will go back to their little setup and resupply themselves. I wonder how they ended up coming to this conclusion, as the Palico would need pathing to get all the way there. maybe this has something to do with why the player usually doesn't need a sacred to get to most locations in the game, and they thought this would be a cool way to take advantage of that, even if the player themselves is not using these routes. His little Palico sure puts in a lot of work, so make sure you thank them next time you see them. In a few different locales, you can find different variations of these cup crabs, and as you approach them, they'll usually burrow underground to protect themselves and hide in their environments. But if you have a stone slinger, you can shoot them out of their little hiding spots, and they'll kind of do this funny little dizzy slinging animation where they kind of freak out. It's kind of adorable. Just make sure you don't use any more dangerous slingers. You might not get the same results. Over in the oil well basin, we have these lumps of blast coal that you can find in a few different locations. Once players start hitting farther into the higher ranks, their damage seems kind of subpar, and you won't really see people throwing these unless it's for fun, which I quite enjoy doing myself. The thing that's very interesting about these is if you're very lucky, you can sometimes find something inside of them. That's right. An ancient relic coin can sometimes be found within these, so maybe that will encourage you to have another reason to throw them. Within Kunafa Village, during various times of the day, you can find that almost all of the people living within Kunafa Village have a set schedule planned, and they will carry that task out accordingly. Here we can witness 3 of them getting escorted by a sacred rider all the way down to the river to go gather water for the village. It's really cool how the person on the sacred is scouting ahead, looking all around, making sure there's no any dangers in sight. And indeed, if there is a large monster, they will retreat back to Kunafa Village. I encourage you to go find some of the other animations, but one that I thought is worth mentioning is you can also find them gathering various fulgurite crystals from locations to help fortify their village from safety, from the dangers of monsters. During the main story quest, you can witness the villagers in the oil basin participating in the Firespring Festival. Did you know, though, you can also witness this almost any time you want? If you approach here at the right season, during inclemency, they will go through the entire process of the festival, and you'll probably see a few parts of it that you didn't see in the main story. From loading the various ores to the very nice animation of the lava pouring into the tracks, which I will let play out here because I think it looks very pleasant. And after that, you can see the 4 towers drenching them with water to cool down the ores rapidly. And eventually, after it gets enough time to cool down, the people with the sledgehammers will come in and start to break up all the ores. Everyone else in the village will gather up the rocks. There's quite a few other things this village does as well, so go ahead and seek those out if you can. The Pillopod. They're staring into your soul. Look at them. Their eyes never leave contact with you. It's almost unnerving the way they look at you. Their hearts pulsing rapidly. What do they want? It's unclear. But you may have not noticed that. They're watching you all the time when you pass by. Kinda creepy, but also kind of adorable in their own little way. And that's just a handful of things that you might have missed in your venture through Monster Hunter Wilds. I recommend when you get the time to just go around and explore if you can. And that'll do it for this video. Up here, another video. Down here, another video. Over here, subscribe. Thank you to my members, and thank you for watching. Bye!